3 home games left to make the playoffs. Beyond my wildest thoughts. That's what tip-off's about. But I'm so geeked. I got it at 2 a.m. I couldn't go to sleep. Boom, 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 boom. Just so much excitement around the team. Boom, 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 boom. Might only be 66 games, but this season rocks. How are you? I know I'm wearing this shirt, but who cares? That's what I grabbed. Wasn't a statement. This is not a statement. A lot of you think when I wear a T-shirt, I'm making a statement. This is called. It's 2:30 and 2 o'clock in the morning, and I grabbed a shirt. Uh, yes. Gosh, this is a scenario I wanted so badly. We got it. 3 games left at home, in front of the Jazz Nation to make the playoffs. God, it's just awesome. Few notes. Vocal chat today at noon. Q&A. Pending one thing. I'm battling a sinus infection, I think. I hope. Otherwise, I got something really wrong because my left eye, about the 5 minutes into the first quarter of the last 2 nights, feels like it's going to pop out of my head. It hurts like all the Dickens, which I'm just assuming is sound coming into my head with it being congested, and flying does not feel very good. And living at 7,000 feet feels a little below average. So hopefully that's what it is. So I got to deal with that, try to get some antibiotics and get that taken care of. And hopefully they won't tell me that the one time my doctor, who I don't have yet, is available at noon. So that's the only thing. Please take the time. If you care enough to listen to this, please take the time to listen to the Derek Favors interview. In fact, if you listen to 2 things I do all year, stop listening to this, wasting your time, and listen to the Gordon Hayward and the Derek Favors interviews. I got a bunch of people who said, "Is Alec Burks next?" No, I don't think so. I think I'm done. If I could do Millsap or Jefferson or someone like that. But I don't think anyone's next. I mean, those take a lot of time to get ready for. I've kind of been working on both those all year, um, and and I don't know. I don't have the relationship with Alec or Ennis yet to do that. You better they better think you're all right to do that interview. Let's talk about this. I have so many thoughts running through my head. I I literally, I got it at 2 o'clock last night, and I mean, I could just feel it. My heart was still racing, just pumped. Um, I never usually talk to the players about kind of after games, like great job. That's just not my job. Last night I couldn't help it, man. I walked down. Josh Howard was sitting in the crowd with some friend, and uh, I just looked at him. I'm like, 3 more, baby. Get 3 more. He was so geeked. It's funny. I'll share with you just a personal. We're all friends, and so I sometimes share these things with you. I don't in any way want to make it sound as though I think this is important and relevant to the team. But I talked to Kevin O'Connor a little bit about this last night when we arrived. We went to the playoffs 3 years ago. It was a pretty special story when we got through Memo getting hurt and winning that Dallas series. And I had a pretty good relationship with some of those guys. But to me, this feels really different. Like that team had a chance to win it, and then there were a bunch of injuries, and there was the Boozer Phoenix game, and there were just so many other things. And maybe this is just low expectations, and you're getting this done, and hopefully they make it. But and maybe it's just that this group, as I've written about, Utah Jazz 4.0 is the one I'm connected to at a higher level. That I was picking up Darren and Memo and Boozer on the run, whereas Jeremy, Gordon, Derek, Alec, Ennis, Al, um, Josh, Jamal, Earl, Devin, really everybody but Paul and CJ, I'm the only announcer that they've had in Utah from a radio standpoint, me and Bowler, from both of them. And so this is just I feel much more connected to this team in that regard. Um, who knows? But I'm just pumped. I hope you guys. I hope I hope you guys are feeling the same thing I am, because this is just the coolest feeling. This is to be at this point, 64, 3 games into a season, with this chance, with 3 home games in front of the home crowd, considering preseason expectations. I talked with Josh Howard last night uh, about just walking out of the Rose Garden after the first preseason game. We were a disaster. I mean, a complete, unmitigated mess. And we're frankly didn't that we won the first home preseason game, and then 3 of the first 4 games of the year we got blown out. Everyone was talking about effort. I was like, this isn't effort. We're just terrible. Well, sure enough, somehow this thing clicked in. And Kevin O'Connor said to me last night when we were chatting, Tyrone's really done a pretty marvelous, unbelievable job with this team. It was funny. I was debating with someone the other day, and they had some valid points on where Tyrone this or Tyrone that. And finally, I stopped and was like, first year head coach, all your things might be right that those need to be improved on. What's the record? What's the record of this team compared to what you thought? And it was like, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that's really all it comes down to. Listen to the Derek Favors podcast, okay? Just every now and then I'm going to say that. I think the signature to this team, and hopefully they can do it for 3 more days, is just to play hard. And in some ways, I feel like the signature of this team is Al Jefferson and Paul Millsap's last 2 games. And what I mean by that is Paul and Al had nothing last night. Nothing. I mean, there was this play where Al jumped for the rebound, and the ball went over his fingers, and Kurt Thomas got it because Al jumped a full inch less than he anticipated and expected and what he usually jumps because the legs were gone. And what I thought was cool about last night is they both battled as best they could against a terrible team. We got a gift last night. But it also just showed you, if you were wondering if they had how deep they dug against Dallas, watch them last night, and it was obvious. Because last night wasn't anything like, oh, they're not ready to play or effort or anything like that. Last night was just an insane after effect. And we get 2 days off today for the first time since the All-Star break. And these guys need it. They just get today off. Today will be maybe the first time I think they just have a day off. Nothing. They're not practicing. They're not doing anything. There is just a palpable excitement around this team. Whether it's the guys like Brian Zettler, who are this, assistant trainer and equipment manager. There's just a really neat energy, vibe, funness, humor around the team. Everyone is clearly in it together. There's a funny thing, by the way. The playoffs to coaches and support staff is really important. There's a money bonus. Not for us, not for broadcasters. For support staff, where they get a playoff share, and it's not. I mean, it's big deal. So, there's just you want to watch some reactions on the bench if you're in the arena the next few nights. Watch the strength and conditioning coach, watch the assistant trainer, watch the equipment manager, watch those guys. It's those guys' families are a little different if we make the playoffs, which is really cool because they work unbelievable hours and commit amazing. Brian Zettler, I've got to sit down and do a podcast with him. If we make the playoffs, I might have to do a Meet the Support Staff podcast, but I don't know if I'll have time. I think the playoffs will be crazy. Let's talk about some of the guys. Devin Harris, I believe, has 6 games now of 20 points or more, 5 of them in the last 8 games. 11 three-pointers in the last 2 days. Just big-time basketball. He just stepped up, man. I mean, I just think New Jersey was such a miserable experience. He lost some confidence. He didn't know how it was going to be. He just had, I think he disengaged from the game. Um, I, I, I think it's an incredible case study, and I don't know if we can get him to express it because I'm not sure he really understands what he's been through. But my take on it is you have a highly competitive athlete who wants to win badly, who's been pretty good, whose skills probably slip a tiny bit just because he's little and he got beat up and he has to change his game a little bit. And he gets banished by the first coach he's ever had, first or second coach he's ever had. I can't remember if Avery was his first. But clearly the coach that he feels tightest and closest to. He gets banished by him in exchange for Jason Kidd when he at the time, a lot of us thought that was one of the worst trades ever. I did. He goes to New Jersey. He battles his butt off for a year, has this incredible All Star year to prove to the world that they were wrong. And then New Jersey turns out to be so terrible that my thought is he just disengaged, that he just completely you can't if you can't put your heart and soul into that. And I think it has taken him probably a full year to realize that one, he's on a roster that's good enough to win again, and two, to re-engage in the game, and he's playing fabulous basketball and has been playing fabulous. He's shooting a career-high effective field goal percentage, a career-high three-point percentage. He's not going to line as much. I don't think he ever will, but he's opening up all sorts of things. He's not a leader. I keep asking him if he's acting differently. He's like, nah. And I just don't think that's who he is. I bonded with him a little more because he was playing his PSP, the show, on the plane yesterday. And he said it's awesome. So I'll have to get that. Once the season's over, I can become a video game maven. How about Gordon Hayward? The last 10 games, with the moments getting bigger, the season getting tougher, and more on the line, he's gotten better. It really, it's a testament to who this kid is, how he likes to play, what he wants. I will never forget last year, Gordon and I sitting down on the court side, and him looking, and saying to me, I cannot believe how little defense we play, how little focus we have on winning right now. He was just disgusted. And I remember I said to him, just remember what this is like. This team will be yours eventually. And he looked at me like, what? I'm like, Gordon, this team is going to be yours. And it's not his quite yet. Because Paul and Al and these guys, Devin, have done their bits. But in the last 10 games, with the days bigger, 51% shooting from the field, 53% shooting from three, 87% from the free throw line, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 3.5 assists, a steal a game, and a plus minus of 50. How you like that? I mean, that's sick. Crazy. 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 51-53. Wow. So cool. I mean, I'm never lying to you guys about this. I like these kids. I like all of them. This is a great group of guys. really a great group of guys. In April, Hayward now leads the team in scoring at 18 a game, followed by Big Al. Devin Harris in April is 45% shooting, 44% from three at 18 points a game. And Millsap is at 48% at 18 points a game. The Jazz have four guys in the month of April averaging 18 points a game. Again, give Ty some credit. He has really zeroed this thing down. And at this point of the season, they figure out, okay, I can go forever, but my kids have got to go to school today. Any other notes? Oh yeah, two notes. If any of you are like me and just Vin Scully, to me, I mean, it's embarrassing to say this after the kind of the Derek Favors call. Like the idea that like somehow Vin Scully's my idol and I make a call that's that ridiculous. I mean, he's got to be. I would assume that if I Vin ever saw that and I introduced myself, he would, you know, look at me a little bit. By the way, did you hear the story? I'm walking the streets of Portland. I bump into Joey Crawford. We talk for a few minutes. Joey Crawford's buddy looks at me and goes, "You're." I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the bet I've made. um, so Steve Rushin of SI wrote a piece on Vin Scully. It's amazing. And then the final note is Pat Summit. The game's that if you love a game basketball, the Tennessee head coach was one of the pioneers, one of the great coaches, one of the game changers. It was John Wooden of the women's game, and stepping down with Alzheimer's. Sad story, and just got to tip my hat. Wish her family the best. But really, more tip my hat. I mean, I don't think my wishes have much impact on her family. But I know a lot of players, my 9 years in the WNBA, who played for her, speak of her in really odd tones, and odd, not odd, like AWE. And I really just think that's you got to give her all the credit in the world and respect and give her due. All right, let's do it, baby. This is going to be awesome. Vocal today at noon, if everything holds together. Derek Favors podcast. Make sure you hear it. See ya. Get your tickets, UtahJazz.com. I want you there.